Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. You're all very welcome here on my channel. Today I'm going to be covering the case of Orsolya Gaal. I've been seeing and reading a lot of it in the media lately. That's in the UK and in America as well. So I thought I'd have a look at it and see what I can find out and just relay it back to you. So the case starts on the 15th of April 2022. There was a dog walker in Forest Park, Kew Garden, which is in Queens, New York City, just taking for his dog for a walk in the morning. And he came across a hockey bag on the floor, just on the side of the grass. So he was curious. The dog was also curious, I might add, by the way. So the dog actually started acting quite bizarrely. So the man then, knelt down and he opened the bag. So he opened the bag, and to his surprise, he saw what he thought was a mannequin. He later described it like being almost wax-like, but then he did notice that this person, or what he thought was a mannequin, was wearing like jeans and a belt. And when he looked a bit closer, he realised that it was actually a young woman and she was in the fetal position, and the bag was absolutely covered in blood. So he did the thing that any good Samaritan would do. He dialed 911 and waited there with his dog. Now, his plan was to, once the police had arrived, he was going to go to take the dog home and then go down to the police station to give his statement. However, when the police did arrive, the dog started like sniffing around, and they noticed like a blood trail on the floor, which the dog completely homed in on. So the dog was like leading the way, just following this trail of blood, followed by its owner, followed by the police. And it took them all the way down the street. It was about 6 blocks away, about half a mile away. And the dog actually eventually led them to an address in Juno Street. And that was the home of Orsolya Gaal. I have to be careful how I say her name, and I've noticed some people are pronouncing it different. I have looked on her Facebook, and she this is how she says that her name should be pronounced. So forgive me if I go a bit awry with the name. Anyway, back to it. So she's a 51-year-old Hungarian woman. She is a married mother, and she got two boys. Now, the police entered the home where the dog had led them, and they found a 13-year-old boy inside the residence. Now, this was like Orsolya's son. Now, initially they arrested him, but it soon became quite clear that he had nothing to do with it. So he was released after questioning. Now, the husband and older son were out of state, so they were never suspects or wasn't in the picture. So now the police have got this, this curious thing on their hands. They've found a mutilated body in a hockey bag in a park. They've followed the blood trail all the way back to this house, with a 13-year-old boy who is in the house, oblivious to what's going on, didn't know where his mum was. So they started, they needed to unravel this. It was a bit of a mystery to them all. So they started to canvass the neighbourhood. Now, Gaal was last seen in the garden with her dog. She had a beautiful little dog. There's some pictures on Facebook if you want to have a look at them. She obviously loved her dog very much. So she was last seen in the garden the day before with her dog. And it came to light that she also went to see a show earlier on in the day, and of the evening she went to a local drinking tavern, and that was called Forest Hill Station. She had some drinks there, she had something to eat. She was alone at that point. At the Forest Hill Station, she was alone. And that was when she was last seen alive. So police checked local CCTV. they couldn't believe their luck, or they was amazed when on CCTV they could see, which looked like the figure of a man, at 4:30 in the morning, dragging this hockey bag. It had some wheels on it, so literally dragging this hockey bag behind him, down the street, down the neighbourhood, to where it was eventually left. So other clues in the home as well. There was a curious note which was posted. It was on like a post-it note, and that on that note someone had written, "Find yourself a new handyman." She said. Okay. So the initial crime scene was believed to be in the basement, because when police searched the house, the basement, it was absolutely covered in blood. So they knew that that was the original crime scene number 1. Now, cell phone records showed that Gaal had made telephone calls to 3 different men that day. One of them was the handyman. So there were no signs of forced entry into the home. So the killer either had a key or had access to the spare key, which was kept under the barbecue, and the handyman knew where that key was. So all this suspicion was actually pointing towards the handyman. His name is David Benola, 44 years old, Mexican immigrant, said to have come to the USA 21 years ago. It's unclear or unestablished whether he was illegal or legal, but he's been in America for 21 years. And it transpired that he was having an on-off 3-year intimate relationship with Orsolya, which she had recently ended. So, jilted lover, possibly. Let's see what's gone on then. So further CCTV revealed that Benola was seen walking in the street near her home and near the crime scene, wearing a mask, a face mask, and carrying a kitchen knife in his hand. There was also evidence found of some clothing, which consisted of some bloodied boots, a jacket, some bandages were also found, and they all believed to be worn by Benola. So Benola was located and came into the police station. There was no real hassle with him getting in. He came in. He sat down for an interview. He made some incriminating comments, which amounted, the police say, to a confession. So, and this is his events that he said happened. He was, like I say, in an on-off relationship with Gaal, and she had recently ended it. So that evening, he had entered the home after midnight. It was about 12:30 in the morning, I think it was. Unsure whether she let him in or whether he used that spare key to get in. However, an argument ensued in the basement. Now, Gaal's 13-year-old boy was upstairs asleep at the time, and he heard nothing. Thank the Lord, to be fair. Gaal was ultimately stabbed up to 60 times in the neck, chest and arm, and at autopsy, her body did show quite a lot of defensive wounds to her arms. So it seemed like she really did sort of fight back. She fought back ferociously, I believe. She was quite a fit lady. She enjoyed hiking, walking, skiing. She did appear to be in quite good shape and was quite a fit lady. So I'm sure she gave all she could. Now, her name means little bear, but I bet she fought back like a mama bear, knowing her son was upstairs. See, I bet she was no little bear at that time. I bet she was mama bear and she was fighting for her life. Now, during the struggle and during the assault, Benola also received some injuries to his hands, and he went after he done the murder. He went off to get these wounds looked at the emergency room. Now, there was some text sent to Gall's husband. His name's Howard Klein, by the way. And they were sent from Gall's mobile phone. There was some odd couple of messages. One of them said, "Your wife sent me to prison some years ago, and I'm back." Now, we didn't know whether I'm unsure whether this could be a red herring. It's not been clarified by the police what the message actually meant. It could be a red herring because from what I've read and researched so far, and what we know so far, what's been released to the public, Gall wasn't at this time anything to do with law. I know she went to a Budapest business school, so I'm unsure. Your wife sent me to prison some years ago. I'm not sure. Unless it was a previous domestic they've had, and she did him for some domestic, some situation that they was in some years ago. Not sure. Could be red herring, like I say. The other text says your whole family is next. Now, Klein, obviously scared for his family. He's got his 2 boys. They've just had their mother murdered. They're receiving these text messages. So understandably, her husband was very, very scared. He wanted police protection. In fact, he's not been at home since the murder happened. And I don't blame him either. However, obviously Benola was caught. He was actually indicted for 2nd-degree murder. He's due in court again on May the 10th. That's this month. So I'm hoping to get an update once that date comes. Now, Gall herself, she appeared to love life. There's Facebook videos and pictures. They show she loved her boys. She loved her family and friends. She loved her dog. Oh my God, the cutest dog. She loved to travel, and she was loved. So it's just another life gone. Another life gone. Like I say, the case is still ongoing, and I will update you about that. When I find out more information, I'll let you guys know too. So, but for now, my prayers and my thoughts are with the loved ones of Orsolya Gaal, and may she rest in peace. So feel free to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed today's video. Doodaloo.